Okay, my outstanding friends, this is exciting, and it doesn't get any more excitinger than this. If you've been around me, and you probably have been for a while now, you know I talk about the microbiome and its relationship to the chemistry of the body. Now, we all work on chemistry. It's just a fact. There is nothing but chemistry that provides the energy and the materials to make life work. Now, how does that chemistry actually get created? It actually gets created by an enzyme. Without the enzyme, the chemistry will not happen. The enzyme speeds up the chemical reaction millions of times faster than it would happen. So without that, it won't happen. You can't break down these molecules and build them up without the enzymes fast enough for life. And you put in ChatGPT to tell you, you die within like a couple of seconds. If you didn't have enzymes, you're done. Even in your blood, iron attaches to something that's called OH. That's a catalyst. I never knew this until I was looking up iron, because it's the metal core attached to some ligands and then attached to two OHs. OHs are catalysts. I just ran into this the other day. I've been studying this stuff pretty deeply, and I'm about as deep as you can get into it, but every day something pops up. And the catalyst is the only way you can provide for your life. Now, where do those catalysts come from? OH, I think, is a special case. But most catalysts are enzymes. And they come from bacteria. Now, I got to look up and see, is OH really considered an enzyme? See, everything leads to something else. But let me show you how exciting this is, because it's starting to become a business where people are going to see a way to make money, and this is going to be a big way to make money, but it's going to also really, really help the healthcare situation, because virtually all of your chemistry is done by bacteria. And we now think we might have a tool to examine that bacteria in a person's body. Very simple, just by, like at your own home. I'm serious. Take a fecal swab in a certain solution in a certain way, and just take a picture of it with a cell phone and some app, and then just submit it, and then AI would go looking for the different light signatures of what bacteria is there, and say you're low on lactobacillus acidophilus, you're high on C. diff, you're this and that, whatever it is. Because they're coming out now with these tools. And this is the first data set right now. Mayo Research developed a tool that measures health of a person's gut microbiome. Now, they're just starting to get there. But there's a whole series of them now, because it's become a business. Before it was just, but now it's the people are looking at it to make money. Basically, that's all I see. If there's no big money in it, and if you got to start all by yourself, I understand. You got to make a living, but when you go out on your own, you got to have some backers, because you won't weather the storm. They'll stop you from doing what you're doing because it interrupts with their stuff. Now, this is a different story, and believe me, I know people in high places in this. I work with a triple PhD, Andy, who runs food safety laboratories in the United States, where we import food to make sure it's safe. And we've been going back and forth about a way to quickly identify pathogens in the food supply. It's got to be quick, and it's got to be perfect. And how do you do that? AI basically can pick up, I think, now this is sort of up in the air right now. I believe there's some funding and all kinds of things going on in the background, which I don't get involved in at all. I'm too old to get in that. All I want to do is understand and see if I can help other people to understand what's possible. And what you're looking for is the signature of life. And the signature of life is the radiation that exact type of bacteria gives off. And there will be an exact radiation. I don't see how you can hardly miss it. And I know they already know about this, because we've been evaluating programs that search. Andy's been sending me stuff, I've been sending him stuff, and it comes out every day now. Every day, this about developing these tools, getting deep into this. This is the biggest thing in medicine right now, is the microbiome and the microvirome, which is the virus areas. And now I was just talking with Marguerite, or correspondent. She's over in Belfast, and she sent me a whole bunch of stuff about new research they're doing over there, and finding, well, I forget what it was, something about viruses somewhere else in the body. I can't remember now. It's been a whole batch of stuff. But I've got so much to present to you. And the problem with autism and everything else is so bad that there's got to be something done about it. There's got to be something done about it. And I don't make any claims. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not anybody that's going to say do this or do that. But Marguerite's group, I got to look up the name of it, but it's like Autism and Gut Health, something like that, on Facebook. And she knows the ins and outs of this stuff. I stay away. I don't make any claims. But I have seen things that I'm impressed by. Now, I'm going to show you what they just did with this microbiome, and then I'm going to show you some of the latest research. And this is only weeks old, months old, how they really now understand these enzymes are the absolute requirements to make and break these chemistries so fast you die without them. And enzymes are produced by bacteria. And the bacteria have to live in this fluid-filled highway, and they have to continue to reproduce and not die and be vital and strong in their correct quantities and numbers. And that's how a microbiome sets up. There's always good and bad. You have flesh-eating bacteria in you right now. You've got a ton of it. You have to. But it has to know which flesh to eat. You don't want to have the stuff that's still doing its job. You're dying right now. I'm dying as we're talking. I got billions of cells in me dying right this instant. And somebody's got to go out and clean them up. Now, I don't think they just sweep them up. I think they break them down, which is flesh-eating bacteria. That's what happens. They break them down. Now, why do they not break down the good stuff? Is there somebody saying don't do that? Or is the good stuff got a signal? I'm almost 100% certain of this. The living, thriving bacteria has some kind of a frequency, some kind of a signal that can be detected by the bacteria, which are programmed, literally programmed, to create ribosomes that are these enzymes to kill exactly one specific particle or species or whatever, but they're programmed. And the thing that programs them is the viruses. It's unbelievable how it webs back. Viruses are programmers. Bacteria are creators of the ribosomes. The ribosomes are so small, 1 million of them could fit in one, maybe more than that, in one cell, 1 million of them, and then you got all the other stuff in the cell. So those ribosomes are so small, they can go into blood barrier, they go anywhere they want in your whole body, and they are the enzymes. When they pop open, they could go from, you can't even, it's just not there, to, and there's so much of it, it would never get back through that blood-brain barrier again. So that's the only way you can get it up into the blood-brain barrier is if an enzyme creates it. A bacteria creates an enzyme, because the enzyme is a ribosome. Well, it's a ribosome, and then it just lays around. The ribosomes are cool. They're just a program, like a little program. I'll show you all this stuff. And when the ribosome goes, it's in a ball, and a ball is tiny. So think of it this way. The ribosome goes out, and it's so small, 1 million of them can fit in one cell. So that tells you that the blood-brain barrier cannot restrict those because they're coming up with cells. They're inside the cell, and it gets inside your brain, and then they just lay around, don't eat, don't poop, don't do anything. And all of a sudden, one of these specific ribosomes is told, we got a lactobacillus, he's coming down here to gobble up something, we got to kill him. And this thing goes, okay, and it unsheathes, and it goes, whoop, and it turns into a giant molecule like that. This unbelievably elegant. And it goes, bam, 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 and it kills all of those bad guys. Doesn't even get used up. It just keeps going bang, 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 bang. And it's click chemistry. There's so many little magnetic signatures here that have to match. And it just goes, and it kills them all. And when they're all dead and there's none left to do, it gets recycled. We're talking elegance here, my friends, major elegance. All right, I've said this a million times. I am not a doctor. I give you no medical advice, but this is what Mayo researchers are developing, is this tool to see what's in your gut. So here's what they did. This just came out. Now this is in Rochester, Minnesota. I'm just going to read it. A team of Mayo Clinic researchers has developed an innovative computational tool that analyzes the gut microbiome of a complex ecosystem of trillions of bacteria, fungi, viruses, and other microorganisms within the digestive system to provide insight into overall well-being. Those pretty much come right out of your poop. They analyze the feces. Now, it says in a new study published in Nature Communications, the tool demonstrates at least 80% accuracy in differentiating healthy individuals from those with it says any disease. All right, so this is the database of what is your bacteria versus healthy people. So they're given 80% accuracy in differentiating healthy individuals from those with any disease. The tool was developed by analyzing stool samples, stool gut microbe, that's poop, from more than 8,000 samples representing various diseases. So they all the different diseases they know, and here's what the poop was like. The geographic regions, they're drinking this kind of water, this kind of air, they're eating these kind of crops, so they got that too. Demographic groups, you know, who's the black people versus white people versus Asians, you know, because that's the same thing. Everything is based on your biology. Now, what plays a part in that? Is everybody got the same biology once you get under the skin? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. If you're Asian and I'm Caucasian, is it different? I don't know. The facial features and so forth are. So I can't see why that would be not possible. So here, let's keep going here. So this tool is called the Gut Microbiome Wellness Index 2. It could detect even subtle changes in gut health, identifying whether a person may be progressing toward or recovering from a disease. How would they know that? The only way they would know that is to see the quantity and types of bacteria are there in a healthy one versus a non-healthy one. And are they shifting this way or shifting that way? So it says the researchers used bioinformatics, which is a database, and machine learning, which is automated intelligence, to analyze gut microbiome profiles in stool samples gathered from 54 published studies spanning 26 countries, 6 continents. This approach produced a diverse and comprehensive data set. Yes, it would, absolutely. Look at all that. That's huge. This capability addressed long-standing challenges in human microbiome research. Yes, long-standing, because they didn't even bother, including defining what constitutes a healthy microbiome and identifying early indicators of potential health issues. Exactly. It also fills a significant gap in existing measurement tools of health and wellness. No question. The gut microbiome plays a crucial role in digestion, metabolism, immune function, and researchers are finding an imbalance in the gut microbiome can be linked to various chronic diseases. All right, and again, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to make any statements about that. I just want you to know, well, we'll talk about it later, but all these microbiome gut things, each one of these bacteria creates a specific enzyme. And if you don't have that enzyme, the chemistry is not going to happen. So if that chemistry that doesn't happen is related to something that's in your immune system, well, then you're in trouble. Because it's immune function. It's also metabolism. You're not going to get the right, you're not digesting correctly. You won't get the right metabolism. All of that stuff plays a part. Hippocrates, thousands of years ago, said all disease starts in the gut. And he was not far from wrong. But again, I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you, this is what they're finding. I'm telling you, this is exciting, because we've been really trying to work on getting a standardized database. But this is a huge project. Mayo Clinic did it. See, this is in quotations. Finally, we have a standardized index to quantitatively measure how healthy a person's gut microbiome is. How much of this, how much of that, how much of this, how much of that. And if this one's way down, it should be way up. Well, you got an issue, and you can draw inferences. I'm not saying you can make anybody healthy overnight, but you can at least draw inferences of what bacteria is not there. And normally that's going to be related to some biological issue. That's what they're saying. And again, not my words, this is them. So this is the Jing Zheng, PhD, senior author, computational biologist, Mayo Clinic, for Individualized Medicine's microbiome program. Our tool is not, and again, in quotation, our tool is not intended to diagnose specific diseases, but rather to serve as a proactive health indicator. So you come in and you say, how am I doing? And they say, I don't know, you got any poop? I say, yeah, I got some poop. They say, oh, you're doing pretty good. Or, uh-oh, you got an issue here. So what do they do about that? That's up to them. I don't get involved in that. So he says proactive. What does proactive mean? You intervene before you end up with the diseases. So he says, by identifying adverse changes in gut health before serious symptoms arise, the tool could potentially inform dietary lifestyle modifications to prevent mild issues from escalating into more severe health conditions or prompt further diagnostic testing. It would, by being able to answer whether a person's gut is healthy or trending toward a disease state, we ultimately aim to empower individuals to take proactive steps in managing their own health. You got to get your gut working, or you're not going to provide the chemistry. I'm going to show you how the chemistry is done. That's all I do as the chemist. I'm not telling you anything other than how the gut works. And then the rest is up to these guys. Now, the tool development process involved identifying microbial species, carefully selecting the most relevant features, optimizing the machine learning model. The end result is an index that screens a gut microbiome sample and quantifies how much it resembles a healthy, disease-free or non-healthy diseased individual. So they see this in the quantities of all these things. Are you healthy? Are you not healthy? The study team first tested the index on a training set of more than 8,000 microbiome samples, then validated its work on a new cohort of 1,140 samples. Okay, so they figured it out with 8,000 samples. What were the most relevant things that they want to work with? And then they used them on 1,140 samples to see if it validated. The team also tested its tool across various clinical scenarios, including people who had undergone fecal microbiota transplants. That is where this big news. as well as people who made changes in dietary fiber intake or who had antibiotic exposure to demonstrate its ability to detect shifts in gut health. This is right there, that's very important to understand these things, because this is what controls how you digest. And this fecal matter transplant, very interesting. So they're looking at it to see what was the effect before you had the fecal matter transplant and then after you did. Did your stuff come up to normal, or did it go bad, or what happened? So they're testing all these things with a lot of people. All right, Dr. Sung and his team plan to further develop the gut microbiome index by expanding its data set to include a broader range of microbiome samples for diverse populations by adding more advanced artificial intelligence techniques to enhance the tool's predictive accuracy and adaptability. Dr. Sung, you are a hero, my friend. This is exactly what is needed. Now, we also need to be able to see what viruses are there, because the bacteria is good, but the viruses program the bacteria. And there was just something came out today. Hold on one second. Wait, you see this? You see this? Again, not my words. I'm not saying this. This came out in Science Tech today. This is from the Northwestern University. October 11, 2024. Toothbrushes and shower heads swarm with unknown viruses. I have no idea what the viruses are. And that's good news. That's what they say. These viruses come out. Listen, a recent study found common bathroom fixtures like shower heads and toothbrushes are teeming with bacteriophages. But they're the viruses that attack bacteria, not humans. All right, you need so much stuff in you, and they really don't know any of this stuff at this moment. And they also don't fully understand the cascading effect of the bacteria to the ribosome, to the MRA, and then using all of these different enzymes, and then into the DNA to make you immune. Unseen viruses, treasure trove in your shower. And they're starting to realize, I've been talking about this forever. And I keep teasing my wife, and she doesn't like it. She thinks I'm a nutcase. You know, they wanted to know what microbes are living there. They're all over the place. And you get too clean, and you know, like, here's the key. And this is just a fact. All animals virtually feed their babies poop to get their digestive system working. I was talking with a guy who raised cattle down in Texas, and he said that, they'd slop around in the mud, the mothers and everything, and the babies be sucking on their teats in the mud, and here's where we're going. He says they'd be kicking and jumping and having such a great time, and they'd just be sucking some milk, and the rest of it would be mud and feces and everything else. And so they say there's no need to alarm. We live with these microbes. They're the ones that actually program the bacteria in us to respond to invaders. Viruses are good things, and I was really surprised to see this, because that's kind of breaking the mold. It's good news. These unknown viruses. They're not saying, that could be COVID-97 or whatever. No. This is the way Mother Nature works. You got to get dirty to stay healthy, basically, in some manner or not. You got to be immune, and in order to get immune, you got to have exposure. Now, here's the key to exposure. Let's talk about exposure. All right, this is the absolute most important part about immunity and about reaction to invasion. You have to have some bacteria, at least some, that can respond, and then they will get excited, and then you grow a bunch of them to respond. That's a good immune response. You're invaded, you have some immune system that can fight back, and it just gets better and better and better. And that is the way the immune system is supposed to work. Now, if you get a live virus, and there are a bunch of live viruses they give to little kids, and that kid has no ability to fight back whatsoever, none, zero, because who knows what? There's all kinds of different conditions that can cause the bacteria to die in the human body, certain ones. It doesn't have to be all of them. But if you don't have the right bacteria to fight back, you can't fight back. So that live virus really does at least what it would normally do. It may even do worse. Who knows? Because there's nothing to stop it. So in other words, you cannot get an immune response because you don't have anything to start with. You have no building blocks to start with. That's what it appears to be. Now, what we need to do is have a bacterial swab, a fecal swab, before and after medical interventions, antibiotics, X-rays. X-rays kill bacteria. They kill bacteria. Just look it up. X-rays kill bacteria. So do herbicides. And they put herbicides on plants just before they harvest them to kill off all the weeds and get rid of stuff, and actually even to dry them out. So you're actually eating the herbicides. It kills the bacteria in you, possibly. This is all got to be researched. So we should see before the bacteria count, before they eat some herbicide stuff, and then after, what happens? And then monitor it over the course of months, because they did find that it got worse and worse and worse. This woman was doing these gut surveys on doctors. She was actually a doctor, and she was working with doctors, and she wanted to see what was happening in the microbiome, and they all wanted to poop and give her the poop. And she took it, and I think it was like 45 doctors she did, and she found out, yes, they all had a very similar response to some intervention, and I'm not going to get any deeper than that about it, but it was it was just so obvious, it was unbelievable. So the key is, and then she had to restore that. She actually destroyed this particular bacteria in her own body to see what would happen. Sure enough, all kind of gastrointestinal problems. This is the key to gastrointestinal quiescence. Nice and even, just homostatic, everything goes every day. You poop, you eat, everything's fine, and you do feel good. And once that backs up on you, I think, I got an honest feeling that people that are constipated get a little more harsh. They get a little more violent from constipation. I know it sounds crazy, but that's just something that seems to be possible. All of this, because there's violent activities from a lot of people. Why are they so violent? Why do they feel so bound up and tense all the time? They know that this mood is affected by your digestion, virtually everything, 100% of you. And almost every disease there is that's chronic, like cancer or all these other ones, is an invasion through a membrane. And you have to have this bacteria and so forth in these membranes to protect you from invasion. So, and viruses work with the bacteria. Viruses, I believe, program. I mean, literally program the bacteria. They go in and they say they take over. Well, yes. They come in, they say, I know your DNA says you're supposed to make a lactobacillus acidophilus, but here's what we're going to do today. We're going to change that. Here's from now on, you're going to do, and they plug in a new thing. Now it's okay, no problem. And they start pumping those out. They're called ribosomes. But before they were good, now they're bad. Or maybe they're good still. Maybe they're even better. The viruses are the programmers. And there's, like they say, there's zillions of them. I think they're talking about billions. And nobody knows what they are. But they're there from somewhere. They came from somewhere. These things are not stupid. These are intelligent little things. That's why I get, when they just think we just all this stuff just happened. I can't see that. But I got to be honest with you. I can't imagine how this extremely elegant web of life and intricacy of the human body and all the creatures and their joints and their tendons and their muscles and their nervous system and their excretory and how they do it. It's just overwhelmingly stunning. I can't even imagine any creature or anything that could accomplish this level of sophistication. It's just amazing, and it just happens, more or less, as far as I know. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at this for today. I love you all. It's a strange new world, my friends. That's all I can say. All right, we'll talk. Thank you. I love you. Bye.